Disclaimer.
You know, the world's become a scary place lately. More than usual, anyway. Lately, this backroom closet has felt like a sanctuary to me. Just like these crates filled with movies and other junk that we've got in stock. And I figure that some of you out there are in a similar position to me. You're cooped up in some little hole waiting for everything to blow over. And I figured, well, we could both use some escapism. So how about we talk about a movie? I found this one on our shelves lately. It's called Cargo. Cargo is a 2017 Australian post-apocalyptic film directed by Ben Howling and Yolanda Ramke. In it, Andy Rose, played by Martin Freeman, tries to keep his wife and infant daughter afloat in the wake of a horrific virus outbreak. I can't relate. When fishing and scavenging along the river from their houseboat becomes a serious struggle, the family tries a dangerous and desperate trip on foot to keep themselves alive while finding a guardian for their child should they die of this mysterious infection. You know, I really enjoy how the filmmakers set this film in rural Australia. I think that's a unique setting. It feels like in this oversaturated zombie genre, every movie has to take place in the United States or the United Kingdom, as if those are the only two places in the world that can be overtaken by some horrible virus, right? In addition to giving the film a great color template, it gave the opportunity to the filmmakers to include a subplot featuring the Aboriginal tribes of Australia, which, beyond being an interesting inclusion from concept alone, offers both another tragic storyline to the film and a light at the end of the tunnel. The unique setting carries into the soundtrack, which uses haunting chants and drums as aesthetically appropriate mood enhancers. I also love how this movie manages to show and tell effectively. The emergency kit shows with clear visuals the symptoms of the virus, and it's a great way to drive up the anxiety of what's going to happen to the Rose family. Add on to that the gruesome imagery of Kay figuring out how to use the suicide by lobotomy pen, and you've got a great recipe for tension. If this recording turns out blurry a fourth time, I might have to try out one of those pens for myself. Of course, they also don't tell you at first that this is a zombie movie, but if you're paying attention, it's pretty easy to figure out. The horror ramps up as we learn more about the virus through its effects, and the evidence of past victims such as charred remains, and the strange green-amber goop that the infected secrete. The acting is solid, with Martin Freeman and Susie Porter, who plays Andy's wife Kay in the movie, giving emotional performances. Freeman believably takes Andy into darker places as the desperation grows greater, adding to how the characters are all tragically and preventably human. Now, in order to further get into what I mean by that, I'm gonna have to enter spoiler territory, so if you haven't watched Cargo yet and you plan on doing so, now would be the time to step away from the video and watch it on Netflix. If not, skip ahead to this time code so that way you get our spoiler-free thoughts and opinions. But for the rest of you, we're going to be entering spoilers in 3, 2, 1, here we go. A lot of people are going to have issues with the rising action of this movie, namely because of the actions of Kay. While I'm sure lots of people think that Kay could have avoided getting infected had she not gone looking for razors on that boat, I think it was a completely human error to make. After all, Andy never found a zombie on the boat. Plus, he was gloating about how it was so easy, how it was a one-man job, but he never told Kay if he found razors or not. So naturally, I, much like Kay, would have assumed the boat was safe and I would have gone looking for razors myself. This is what I mean when I say these movies' characters are preventably human. Kay is a prime example of how infection spread, through careless mistakes. Sure, these characters could have avoided all the horrible things that happened to them, but they were written as human. They're flawed, they're self-centered, and they make mistakes. Now, I've gone on talking about Cargo long enough without talking about the film's underlying environmental message. Throughout the film, there's continual callbacks to the gas industry, with one group of survivors holding up in an old gas refinery for when things go back to normal. Even though it's painfully obvious things will never be normal again. Most prominently though, there's a lot of references to fracking in this movie. For those of you who don't know, fracking is a process where a high-pressure well injects liquids into subterranean rocks to open up pockets of oil and natural gas. Now the problem with fracking is that these liquid injections almost always pollute the water and air around the fracking area. So much so it's been banned in several countries. So while pro-fracking advocates like to call fracking clean power, I've never heard of, say, a solar farm ever polluting the water, or boosting birth defects by 30%, or setting rivers on fire.
The Condamine River in southwest Queensland on fire. The fracking just a kilometre away, methane coming up, and now the river is alight.
In short, fracking is a dangerous, expensive, and controversial process that can really only be afforded by corporate dragons. You know, folks like, RuPaul.
A drag queen? I am the queen of drag.
I wish I was joking there, but reality is a sitcom and it should have been cancelled 6 seasons ago. You see, fans of this film have some theories about the origins of the virus since we're not really told much about it to begin with. Fans of this film theorize that the virus was born from pollution on account of fracking from the fossil fuel industry, leading to the birth of the virus dubbed by some as the fracking virus. Under this line of thought, the rancid, oily goop the zombies secrete could be seen as a symbol for the pollution left behind by the fossil fuel industry. Why else would the zombies be puppeteered by the virus to desperately bury their heads in the sand? The virus is trying to return to its place of origin, deep beneath the darkness of the soil. This would be why the big antagonist of the film, aside from the virus, is Vic, the man who plans on capitalizing on a predicted need for gas. In contrast, the person who helps out the Rose family the most is Toomey, an Aboriginal girl who tries to follow the old ways of her people. Remember when Vic was busy locking up Aboriginal folks in cages for getting too close to his gas? Remember how he taunted and tortured them by attracting zombies to their cages?
I thought we were here for gas.
Call it a side earner.
And what's that got to do with her?
Can't catch a fish without bait. When this country gets back on track, people are going to want things. Whoever controls the market, power, gas, all the shiny shit, you're sitting pretty. Fuck with me. I'll fuck with you. You look pretty lonely in there. See if we can drum you up some company.
The film is directly telling us that between these two opposing viewpoints, the pursuit of greed through fossil fuels is far inferior and crueler when compared to the naturalistic lifestyle followed by the Aboriginal tribes. Look, I know that the filmmakers have come forward and said they base a lot of their zombies off of insect biology, but death of the author. I think this is a really fun way to view this film. Sometimes reading into things too much can be fun, and there's just enough evidence to support this reading of the film, so I'm sticking with it. Overall, Cargo is a phenomenal post-apocalyptic zombie movie, the likes of which are far above the deluge of other similar films in the genre. The setting, the acting, and the themes make this film appealing as both a tragedy and a horror film, and I highly recommend it. Currently, you can stream Cargo on Netflix, but if you're interested, I also recommend the 2013 short film of the same name. It's from the same filmmakers, and they managed to expand on the short film really well. For those of you who are interested, it'll be linked in the description down below. In the meantime, tell us what you thought of this movie or this review with a like or a dislike, and down in the comments below. Subscribe for more, hit the bell to get notified when we post videos, and be sure to stay up to date on our social media for whenever we post a video or an exclusive article on our website. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm pretty sure I'm out of time for my break, so stick around and I'll see you next time, I suppose.
Implosion found. Running territory first. Making a bush.